What is a thing that a lot of movies do that you absolutely hate? That every shitty movie nowadays is set up as the first part of a possible trilogy, making it non-committal and vague as a result. Male lead and female lead with no chemistry end up together just because. I absolutely loved how Rob Reiner, Redditors are telling me it was Aaron Sorkin. Thanks, everyone, worked Tom Cruise and Demi Moore in A Few Good Men. I was expecting what you said, and in the end, they never got together, and respected each other's work. It was a breath of fresh air. Any other director would have pushed the two together for damn sure. Kick-ass movie, for that and a bunch of other reasons. Over-explain the plot, like a recap so you are not confused, usually accompanied by flashbacks you just saw live minutes ago, or when they use dialogue to cram years of backstory into the first 3 minutes of the film. But honey, you can't do that since your father was an ex-astronaut who died on a mission and now your poor grief-stricken mother has early-onset Alzheimer's and you are struggling financially and our kids both need braces and our car is being repossessed and we now have to move to a small apartment because you lost your job at the tuna canning factory that your brother got you just before he died in 9/11. In rom-coms, the two love interests are usually bad for each other. So, to make them seem less bad for each other, when they go through that period where they break up and try dating other people, the other people are the weirdest, most unlovable freaks anyone has ever laid eyes on. Men are instantly abusive, women behave like spoiled children. Look, I know I've lied to you for like 2 years about who I am, I know I accidentally killed your grandma, and I am the reason your parents divorced, but seriously, the guy you are seeing was dismissive to you once while having a bad day, and even though he is stable, and has invested time with you, has a place with you, wants to commit to you, well damn it he has been mean to me because I'm clearly trying to break you two up, so can we just give this a shot? Do I need to do some creepy grand gesture or something to show you that I love you despite not really knowing you? Will that work? When a character doesn't immediately explain what happened, to stop the conflict, just let me explain, I swear that's not what happened. If you just let me finish, I'll tell you. Please, just listen, dash it up, just say I didn't kill your, insert familial person here, I tried to save them, but I was too late. I always notice unrealistic dialogue as exposition. Hello, my sister-in-law that I've known for the last 10 years, after our stepfather died on Val Nadine's day, how are you? Oh, I'm fine ever since your brother gave me the jewelry for my 10th anniversary that used to belong to your grandma that she got during World War II. It sure is a cloudy day. When something is foreshadowed and then revealed later in the movie, but instead of just letting you realize it yourself, one of the characters say it out loud, like the audience is too dumb to make the connection. Biggest pet peeve is the fact that every comedy has to turn sad in a very cliché way halfway through the movie. It's the guy loses girl and has to win her back formula that's in every damn comedy. When the FBI shows up to take over the case and then the cops butt heads with them, this does not happen. Cops are more than happy to let someone else do their work for them. Also, the FBI is almost always portrayed as a bunch of overly bureaucratic shitheads who suck at fighting crime and only know how to follow their standard procedure. The original Die Hard is probably the most on the nose with this, to the point the central part of the plot revolves around the villain actually counting on this behavior. Cheap motivations to justify actions, and cheap shortcuts that are convenient to the plot. I will blow up the country because my cat died in a car accident. I will fight with an entire gang to save this random girl I met 10 minutes ago. I am being hunted by a mafia boss and his entire family. No need to call the law enforcement even if I have proof. This armed dude has been holding a bank hostage for 5 hours already while I prepare my plan. No law enforcer is anywhere to be seen until the plot requires them to show up and either mess up the protagonist's plan or to be useless. Poor research. When a part of the plot is in a different country than the movie itself is from and they show a regional, cultural aspect of the visited country and fail. Don't they have Google? Remember the Turkish terrorists in 24? All of the hacking stuff was in what looked like Arabic script. Jack took a look at it and later remarked that it looked like Turkish, which was how they deduced the origin of the terrorists. 10 seconds on Google and the writers would have discovered that native Turkish has used the Latin alphabet for like a century. When the protagonists happens upon a car and they check the tire or the sun visor and find the keys, like, who the fuck leaves car keys in the car? Edit, welp, if I did this where I live my car would be gone in 20 minutes 60 seconds. The antagonist is often someone who is straight out evil and just likes to watch the world burn for no particular reason. At the end, right before they are defeated, they often act as if they've suddenly understood how horrible they were and regret everything they've done. Just some I can think of. Male scientists are always crazy lunatics with wild hair. Female scientists are supermodels with glasses. Calling someone on the phone, asking them out. They say yes and hang up without ever discussing the time and place, yet still coming at the same time at some restaurant, bar. There's always an available parking spot where the protagonist must go, having a bite for breakfast and running out to work, school. Edit, typo. They don't do the research on anything, laws, medical facts, technology, mechanical objects, conversation, and normal human behavior. It's a little bit mind-blowing that the highest-paid actors in the world can't do a convincing portrayal of an ordinary person. Well, there's only so much you can do with a shitty script, and if the director tells them to act a certain way, it doesn't matter how realistic they're capable of acting if the director's vision of real is delusional. That and the fact that famous unskilled people exist. Either pretending cell phones don't exist or making the weakest of excuses for why they can't be used. Just stop making your plots dependent on the idea that two people can't actually talk to each other if they want to. The only way to do this right is to set the film in a not-so-distant past when cell phones weren't that common. I recently watched 12-Hour Shift, and the plot pretty much depends on the characters being in a hospital but not being able to talk with each other immediately. They solved that by setting the film in the 1990s. Normalize your goddamn volume, directors. There's no fucking reason I should have to watch a movie with my remote in my hand for 2 hours. It's not the only reason I pirate everything not nailed to the floor, but it's up there. When they end the phone call without saying goodbye, they just hang up and the person on the other end completely understands that the conversation is over. So, right here, in my experience, that stuff is often in scripts. It gets cut because it adds to the running time, and unless that hello or goodbye is relevant to the plot, it's either getting scratched out in the script or cut in editing. Most movies have bloated run times anyway, and nobody needs an extra 5 minutes of niceties. Anytime a phone number starts with 555, all I can hear is the Dave Chappelle bit explaining you know why they do that? Because dumb motherfuckers leave the movie theater and call the number. Hello? Is this Indiana Jones? No, asshole, that's not real. He don't exist. I think of it every time. It's hard to count the amount of movies that have so much potential and reel you in so hard in the first half hour, and then just roll over and die in predictability. Almost like fully realized thought is sacrificed for a $1 million money idea. I respect the movies that don't fuck around and work out the kinks, even if it takes years of production. Earn it. We work hard for our dollars spent on seeing your film. I have noticed in movies that involve a new house, it is often a surprise for all but the member of the family that apparently acquired or purchased it without any input from the rest of the family. Did the one person just buy it online or sneak away and just go through the purchase process and closing? The family pulls up to the house, dad gets out and says, "Let's see the new house." Kids go run and pick their rooms and partner has never seen the house before. Why is this? It seems completely unrealistic and it bugs me every time. Hire significantly older actors to play young people's or even teenagers' parts, like the actresses for Jane Eyre always look to be in their 20s when she's supposed to be a teenager, or the opposite. casting a middle-aged actress as old, like Kate Winslet, bring only 12 years older than her grown-up daughter in Mildred Pierce. I have a few automatic weapons that go click 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 to show they are empty, weapons with no recoil, cups that are clearly empty, the professor/doctor/specialist that are top of their field when they are 22. And hot, everyone can pick up a weapon and straight away be proficient if not an expert. The unnecessary kiss. If there's a boy and there's a girl, there will be a kiss. Doesn't matter if it's relevant to the plot or not. By end credits there will be lip lock. It's so fucking annoying. Best example I can think of right off the top of my head. Kylo Ren spends 3 movies trying to kill Rey and she still fucking kisses him. There's no reason for it. No justification. It's completely unnecessary and wholly unbelievable. I wish movies would fucking stop it. The horses. Jesus, they always do something stupid with the horses, and I'm sure most people don't notice, but it just ruins the whole thing for me. Whether it's actors who can't ride, but then magically become gloriously talented in a stunt scene, reusing the same horse between different actors, or swapping out the horses for doubles during action scenes, there is always something. People who handle the horses used in movies must go crazy trying to deal with it, because they know exactly what's going to happen. That every action film has to be ironically humorous about it. They saw what the 90s and 2000s films were doing, and now think they're better than that because they're not going to be edgy. They're going to be relatable. Man, you gotta love the overpowered superhero who has a throwaway trait that's overwhelmingly human. Stuff like Face Off, The Crow, Blade, and The Matrix, as silly as they can be, are all clearly the byproduct of people who put a lot of passion and energy into something that they thought was cool. Guns and the way they're portrayed. The range master in me gets nervous. Stalking a girl will make her fall in love with you. It won't. Apartments in cities are brutally expensive. Most young people with even entry-level jobs won't get the giant loft or badass condo. Hate when a scene with a horse comes on and the horse is constantly whinnying or pawing the ground or something, even if nothing is happening. Horses don't neigh with every kick or pull on the reins. They might snort, huff, or shake their heads, but that's pretty much it. Horses aren't as vocal as movies think they are. Something I hate so much in all media types is when a man and woman have to have some kind of sexual relationship. I've watched 2 TV series recently in which the protagonist was a woman, and she had a male offsider, and in both otherwise good shows they shoehorn completely irrelevant and unconvincing romance between those two. Why? What is the purpose? Can men and women not just be friends, colleagues? Why do they always have to have sex? When the movie is in one language but some of the characters are capable of speaking another language and they have conversations in that other language but the movie doesn't provide subtitles to explain what they're saying, especially because oftentimes those conversations are important to the plot, or at minimum are just funny additions, and it's so irritating not understanding what the characters are saying. Fight scenes. When a character gets hit super hard right on the jaw and is just like, hey, finally a worthy opponent, instead of getting knocked out cold. With the UFC being as popular as it is, we've seen what it takes to knock someone out hundreds of times. So for Hollywood to try and make us think someone could eat those shots is just silly. They always get black smiting wrong. You hit white hot steel, not red. You can't leave steel in the forge or it will burn and become useless, and you quench it in oil not water unless you want to burn your arm. Edit. I'm wrong about the water part. You can use it for mild steel but not for anything meant to hold an edge. Running isn't easy, but even no-trained runners aka film characters somehow don't have problems running long distances or running fast in general. Or is it just me dying and breathing hard after I run like 100 meters, and car chases in European cities, especially if there is a historic center? You wish. Why do you think we walk and take metro? Female characters are basically only there to be the male lead's love interest. They'll make stupid decisions, wear the wrong shoes, get rescued, and spend the movie swooning over the competent and heroic main character. Honestly, this is the thing that pissed me off about Crystal Skull the most. Marion Ravenwood was a complete badass in Raiders of the Lost Ark, but in this film she's nothing but a grinning, lovesick idiot following Indy around like a puppy dog. It was an insult to her character. Explain their method of time travel. It kills me. Don't explain it. The thing you are describing isn't a thing. Just do it and I can ignore the science. Back to the Future got it right. This doohickey powers up and boom you time travel. Infinity War got it absolutely wrong. Quantum this, shrink ray that. Just foo. Plenty of opportunity to just introduce a time-traveling superhero and not go down the rabbit hole. That's just me. Not just movies but also TV shows. When someone has a secret, like for example I'm Supergirl or I'm a spy, and when someone finds out they get super upset, angry and all I can't believe you wouldn't tell me, I'm your, insert close person here. How can you not tell me? That is one of the most annoying and ridiculous things. Why would you get upset about that? Everyone has their own shit, and we are not entitled to know every single thing about them. Drives me nuts, especially when this is the thing that leads someone to become a villain. My best friend that I met 2 years ago is a superhero and has to keep his secret for their safety and mine. Oh no, what a jerk. Greater than Adrant. First night the actors sleep together. It's just this spontaneous whirlwind. Where's the awkward condom conversation and then pause for condom? Or they all just have no caution for STDs? After it's over they just fall asleep. Neither one needed a shower. Female didn't need to wipe all the cum and juices that run down. Action movies where only the good guys can shoot well but also they never shoot first, are always outnumbered, and never get hit. Similarly, in martial arts sequences where a single, 100-pound supermodel can easily incapacitate several grown-ass men in a matter of seconds. Horror films where the entire premise is based on shitty kids, parenting. Don't go out that door after dark or you'll get eaten. Kid who is old enough to know better goes right out that door. Also where kids have grown up with horror circumstances but do normal kid stuff that puts them in danger. Looking at You, A Quiet Place, Bird Box etc. We are judging the kids by our standards of normal kid stuff, but I'm willing to bet if you were born into a world where your survival depended upon you behaving a certain way, you'd damn well behave that way because you'd have learned to do it from the start. Bad technobabble, military jargon, where it feels stilted or detached from the reality the show, movie is creating. Firefly was really bad about this. Anytime Kalai or Wash started talking about the mechanical stuff on the ship, it just sounded off. Stargate was also guilty of this, as have been a few of the Marvel movies. Colby Smulders talking about protocol blah 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 .5 being in effect. Star Trek gets mummed for their technobabble, but it at least fits and flows within their reality. And antimatter flow bypass sounds like a real thing. A dilithium intermix chamber sounds like a thing. Reversing the polarity of the main deflector sounds plausible. Someone pulls a fire alarm and all the sprinklers go off. If that happened IRL, the water damage would far outweigh fire damage. Sprinklers are designed to activate only in rooms where the temperature reaches a level that melts a metal plug or boils a glass container of fluid that has been engineered to react at that temperature. If you had a 10-story office building and the sprinkler was set off in an office on the 7th floor, you wouldn't want the sprinklers in every other office on every other floor to also go, would you? I absolutely detest unnecessary sex scenes. They're not hot, they're not interesting, they're just awkward and annoying as shit. Literally nothing important or plot-related ever happens during a sex scene. Edit, I hear a lot of it's to show they're close and intimate woo, and that's also bullcrap cause there's literally a million better ways to do it. The fact that horror and suspense genres have all turned into effectively slasher flicks and torture porn. Thanks. Saw and Final Destination, You've ruined my favorite genre. Gimme suspense and horror from the 70s any day over today's hot garbage. I don't wanna watch people get gored. That's just disgusting, not scary. I wanna feel uncomfortable as fuck for an hour and a half. A lot of thing. Only recent movie I can think of that managed that was Bad Samaritan.